Hello everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Thoughts on Education. Today with us we have thoughtful leader Dr. Muhammad Samiruddin Khan. Sir is working as a director of 6 colleges under Sri Datta Group of Institutions, Hyderabad. His qualifications include PhD, MTech and BTech in Computer Science and Engineering. He has more than 24 years of experience in field of education. He has the experience of building institutions from ground zero. He is instrumental in bringing Resource Center for Spoken Tutorial, FOSS, FOSS, Remote Training Center, and Research and Development Center. With his devotion and initiative, Sri Datta Institute of Engineering and Science received NAAC accreditation. Apart from this, he has also collaborated with various multinational companies like Microsoft, Oracle, IBM, Unisys, Amazon, UiPath, and many more. Apart from this, he also has 3 awards, including Award for Teaching Excellence by Indus Foundation, handed over by USA Ajay Jain, Principal Secretary. He also has Eminent Educationist Award and also Bharat Ratna APJ Kalam Excellence Award given by Home Minister of Government of Telangana. He also has 28 national and international certifications and has 15 international publications under his name. Welcome to this episode, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Vikazi, and namaste, everybody. And I wish you a very happy New Year and a very happy Sankranti.
Sir, you have held key positions at various education institutes throughout your professional career. What are the key factors that keep you connected with the education sector?
Yeah, one is we are a blessed soul because I feel that a teacher is a blessed soul, an enlightened being, and I feel that God has chosen us for a very big responsibility, to shape up the children and make a better future of the country or the world as a whole. So we are blessed because we have been chosen by God to be a teacher, and every society, every country, every state has got huge amount of respect for teachers, and even religion has kept the teachers on the pedestal of God. So that is one reason which keeps me inspiring and motivating to continue as a teacher. And secondly, as I said, we have a huge responsibility towards the young generation. I see a lot of lacunae and lack of abilities which need to be inculcated in them. Basically, when you compare the old generation with the new generation, I found a very distinct quality. The young generation today has got a lot of abilities and they can be so easy with the technology, which was not expected in the past generation. And the only problem with the young generation is that they're emotionally weak, whereas the past generation, my generation people are more emotionally strong because various factors governed that character in us. We were more social than the young generation. We had the big families to interact with, unlike the nuclear family which lives in apartments today. We had grounds in schools to play games and sports that inculcated that sportive attitude in us, that made us more resilience to accept defeat and handle victories. That is a distinct quality each generation had. One doesn't have the other doesn't have the one. So this is what I want to say. I think that every teacher in the world should feel blessed soul because God has chosen them for a greater responsibility.
Sir, being the director of Sri Datta Group of Institutions, what is your philosophy of leadership? How would you describe your leadership style?
See, I believe in servant leadership because that is the only leadership which can bring the real transformation in the people who work under you or who follow you. Positional leadership will not work out because it will be only a mechanical kind of work you can extract from the people. You cannot extract the effectiveness from them. And history has proven that, Mahatma Gandhi ji, Nelson Mandela, these were the leaders who had a huge following, not because of their position, but because of their behavior, their attitude, their thought, their philosophy. So I strongly believe in being a facilitator than a leader with directive approach.
Sir, being the director of Sridhar Group of Institutions, how do you strategize about the key programs like marketing, administration, and curriculum of your school, college?
See, this big group or vast empire is created by our able leader, Sri Panduranga Reddy Garu. And he is a visionary, he is a legendary person who had envisioned to start education institutions basically to, serve the lower middle class, the community which is into government service but can't afford education for their children. That was his vision, and he has successfully implemented his vision down the line from the past 20 years, 21 years, leaving his lucrative services and being a leading legal practitioner. He opted out to be more into serving the society by educating the youngsters belonging to the lower middle class family. And since he is the leader whom we follow, and under his able leadership and guidance, we implement all the strategies that can, bring a lot of positive change in both the faculty community as well as the student community. So it's a teamwork, it's an ecosystem where everybody has to contribute, everybody has to perform, and everybody has to finally see that the expected outcome has reached or not.
Right, sir. Sir, the education systems in India and other foreign countries are structured very differently. In your experience, what can an inbound student who is coming to study at Sridhar Group of Institutions can gain from studying here?
See, you rightly said that the way the education policy and standards are different from India when compared to Europe and Western countries. That's true. But shall we not look back in the ancient times that India was the learning hub of the entire world? We had Takshashila, we had Nalanda universities that are supposed to be the learning centers of ancient India, where people from all over the world came and learned from India. And we have a rich tradition and heritage when it comes to gurukuls and the kind of teaching that was imparted. It is in between where the vested interest came into picture. You can say that the British redevised the entire structure of education for their own benefit, and it's pathetic, and it's not something good that happened where we continued with the system what Britishers evolved, and that system was only meant for creating babus. It was not meant for creating scientists, engineers, entrepreneurs. But the present policy that was devised recently, this national education policy in 2020, is now more oriented towards the Gurukul or the ancient, Guru Shishya kind of parampara, and where multidisciplinary activities are given prime focus, honing the creativity of the student is given a priority, and new methodologies have come into picture which can bring more effective learning and teaching. The Constitution of India has come into picture that everybody has to know about the Constitution of their country, and a lot of focus is given on sports and cultural activities. A lot of focus is given on research-based learning. So I think whatever policies which we followed till now, it's not that they have not yielded. They have yielded, because of which today also India is not a backward country. The human resource of India is most sought after all over the world. So we are a service economy which provides human resources to the entire globe. with this kind of national education policy, I feel that we can get more effectiveness in the human brains. We can supply much superior human resources to the entire world. So this is what is the difference I found, and the new policy I think is expar with any of the education policy of Western countries or European countries. It's nice that the government has finally brought a very well structured education policy. It's only that this education policy has to be converted into an action plan, and within a stipulated time period should be fixed for each policy implementation, and the entire state governments should coordinate with the central government to see that it is implemented to the nail. So my only worry is about the implementation part. Unless and until everybody contributes to its implementation, the policy may not get the expected results.
Right, sir. Sir, how does the curriculum at Sri Datta Group of Institutions ensure the best practice in the industry?
See, we are basically an affiliated college, and we abide by the curriculum of the affiliated university, but keeping the required number of hours a student has to undergo as per the curriculum JNTU apart. In the remaining time, we can, as a college, run parallel stream of courses which are not in the curriculum of the university, and these courses can be the courses which are most sought after the industries, which are more career oriented and which are more skill based and which are more towards improving the attitude of the students, which is more important. So what we basically do is we strictly implement all the academic hours prescribed by the university. Apart from that, we have about 18 hours of time period in each week for imparting knowledge, skills and attitude in a student, which are required for a student to be an industry-ready product.
Sir, what do you think are your roles and responsibilities towards Sri Datta Group and its students?
See, as a director of Sri Datta Group of Education Institutions, I am interested with lots of responsibilities, not only with regard to students, but my role and responsibilities are even to transform the teachers also, because change should come from the teachers. We need to change the mindset of the teachers. We need to implement the policy of learn, unlearn, and relearn, where whatever old practices which are ineffective has to be discarded, and new effective kind of methodology should be imparted in the classrooms. And particularly, students should be engaged in the content provided by the faculty. Faculty should not restrict itself as a deliverer of knowledge. So my responsibility is to see that I should not restrict the faculty to be a deliverer of knowledge. I work day in, day out to see that they become the enablers of learning and engage the students in learning rather than delivering the knowledge. And when it comes to the students' part, my responsibility is to see that they get the best of the teaching and learning in the campus. They get the best of extracurricular and co-curricular activities. They get exposed to the industry requirements. They get exposed to entrepreneurship kind of activities. They get exposed to innovation, incubation, and invention. And as a holistically, my job is to see that both the teachers and the students should be like one transforming the other for the future challenges. And in addition to that, my role is an administrator. As I told you that as an administrator, we need to reflect servant leadership, transformational leadership, than being a dictator or being a leader who believe in directive approach than a facilitator approach.
Sir, what would you like people to know about Sri Datta Group of Institutions that they may not know?
Yes, one thing I would like to emphasize is that we do lot of activities in the campus, uh, be it under the academic initiatives like implementing modern pedagogy that we are doing from the past 11 years. We were the first college, I think, who implemented Bloom's taxonomy, collaborative learning, flipped classes, uh, think, parent, share, peer instructions. This policy, which has come up now for education, uh, is talking about those things in 2021. But these things we have already started implementing from 2009 onwards. Apart from implementing the modern pedagogy from 2009 onwards, we are the first college to be the resource center for entire Rangareddy district in free open source software by IIT Bombay. We are only college which had 5-star rating as a remote training center of IIT Bombay. We have conducted about 34 funded workshops in our college that were attended by faculty all over India. To be very precise, about 1,053 faculty got certification by attending these workshops through NME ICT model, that is National Mission for Education through ICT based learning. And we have about 3,000 plus students who got certification in free open source software in the Spoken Tutorials project of IIT Bombay. We are the only college who got a grant of 4.8 lakhs to set up an R&D center in Sri Datta Institutions. These are the things which were not going out of the four walls of Sri Datta Institutions, maybe because of lack of PR, or we were not so effective in making our philosophy, our activities reach the outside world. We also would like to say that, keeping in mind the challenges posed by industry for the future graduates, we had long back initiated our relationship with Unisys, Oracle, IBM, Salesforce, Amazon, UiPath, Automation in Anywhere University, just to see that the faculty and the students both should be abreast with the changes and trends in the industry, and they should imbibe the recent technologies that are future business technologies. And these initiatives we have started right from 2009 onwards, and still continuing. And our endeavor and our effort is to see that by leveraging all this relation, we would like to develop the overall persona of a student in the form of a good citizen, in the form of the best product the industry requires, in the form of a future entrepreneur.
Sir, what do you see as the Sri Datta Group of Institutions' greatest strengths?
See, our greatest strength is our academics. Our greatest strength is our teaching learning methodologies. Unlike conventional teaching learning methodology, where we have only the chalk and talk kind of approach, we have implemented, as I said, collaborative learning, think, parent, share, peer instructions, flipped classes, Bloom's taxonomy. So we have empirical data which can clearly distinguish the impact of modern pedagogy over the conventional pedagogy. The previous methodology what we are followed in the colleges and all can yield up to 65% of results. But this technology, this methodology what we are following in teaching learning has made us get 100% results. is basically how we engage the students in learning. That's more important. So this is the prime strength of Sri Datta institutions, and we believe in empowerment of students followed by employability. There's another USP of Sri Datta institutions. We have the best of the work culture for faculty, and the unique aspect of Sri Datta institutions is that we have majority of female faculties working in our college. I'm sorry if I'm discriminating or I'm not particular about gender sensitization, but yes, women power is one of the prime focus in Sri Datta institutions. A lot of lady faculty who have families work with us. They find our college to be the best place, or having the best work culture to provide service to the students. So this is what are the USPs of Sri Datta institutions.
Right, sir. Sir, what are some of the biggest challenges you see for higher education?
See, the biggest challenge is what I see in higher education is that India as a country is arid in experimentation. So we have been born and brought up in an atmosphere where experimentation was something not being part of our life. Whenever our parents used to bring some kind of costly things to the house, like a television set or a radio set, I'm talking about my generation, we were not allowed to handle those equipments or gadgets of those years, because they felt that if we try to explore those gadgets, we may spoil it. The same thing happened in the colleges also, where costly equipments in the lab were only meant for demonstration. They were not given to the students to have a hands-on experience on it. But if you see the same student going to a country like US, the entire education system there becomes an amusement park for the students. So they are asked to explore things, they are asked to experiment things, which is not found in Indian context. Because of that kind of facility what US or UK provides, our own Indians who could not do well in India do very well in US. They get big awards and prizes, which was not possible here. Because there is always a second chance, third chance, fourth chance for them in US. Whereas in India is considered, whether it's higher education or school level education, the disgrace attached with the students is for lifetime if he fails in the exams. And he is not subjected to hands-on experience in the college. Because of that, they are very good theoretically, but when it comes to practical knowledge, we find a lot of lacunae, and we find a lot of discrepancies and deficiencies. So I would like to envision higher education that is more experimentally sound, and all these higher education institutions should implement research-based learning. Then only the Make in India, Strong India, and Startup India can be the real success. But as of now, I see that lot of things need to be improved, and lot of things need to be implemented to bring that kind of culture.
Sir, in lines with the same question, any suggestions you would like to give to the current and aspiring students?
I would like to advise the students to first of all avoid distractions in their life. That is one of the biggest demand we have in society now. I would advise them to reduce their screen hours on the mobile phones or any electronic gadget. Distraction will lead for destruction only. I would like the young generation to be more focused, and I would like the young generation to be more creative, and creativeness can only come when schools and colleges provide that environment. But as such, I would say that not to depend on the organizations like higher education or school. They need to keep their curiosity alive. They need to keep their questioning ability alive. Then only they can become an inventor or an innovator and a true engineer. So we don't require graduates, we require problem solvers. So to become a problem solver, whatever field it might be, keep your questioning ability always alive. Question the status quo. Have a good observation. Have a good networking with friends having like mind or friends having similar kind of approach. Do a lot of experimenting along with your theory or theoretical knowledge, and that's what I would like to suggest.
Sure, sir. What are some plans that you are currently or will be designing for your student?
So we have been, as I said, doing quite well in academics by implementing modern pedagogy since 2009. We have worked very hard to see that what does the industry requires and how to prepare the students for the industry. That is still going on. We are understanding the challenges of industry. We are understanding what is the future business technology that we use in industry, and we are preparing the students accordingly. Thirdly, we are trying to imbibe the best of the character and morals in the students, because we don't require any technocrats or robots. We require human beings with human feelings. So these are the kind of initiatives we have been taking up and doing very well, and time will tell what kind of organization we will be evolving in. We will be definitely the best in this state and beyond that.
Thank you, Dr. Samiruddin sir. It was a very insightful and engaging session. Thank you for sharing your insights.
Thank you so much, College Dunia, for giving me this opportunity to speak out the small amount of knowledge what I possess out of these 24 years of my service in education sector. And I wish them all the best, and I thank the management of Siddhartha Institutions for giving me this 11 years of service, an opportunity to work by aligning with the mindset of our Honorable Chairman, Sri G. Panduranga Reddy Garu, and the dynamic leader, this is the Vice Chairman, Sri Reddy Garu.
Thank you,
so much. Thank you.